There are no manuals. There are no diagrams. There is legit nothing on this car.
That's a small problem. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Maggart from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf.
And after a slight delay because I had too much homework and I also got my flu shot today, and my mom's now running a fever, so I now have to keep my fingers crossed for myself. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's get started with our actual topics, which is that.
I was gonna say, I'm
Virtual,
just gonna keep my mouth shut
night.
about the whole situation.
What whole situation?
I may or may not have a strong thing against flu shots. That's why I said I'm just going to keep my mouth shut about the whole thing. So,
I understand that.
Yeah. So,
but getting back on topic, the iPhone. So my iPhone 17 Pro, I got a privacy screen protector for it, but crap, I need to charge this thing after the podcast is over. But I decided to get some speaking non-privacy screen protectors because I discovered that these privacy screen protectors, they are great at privacy. However, the problem is that they make it they're impossible to see whenever it's impossible to see my camera angles whenever I'm filming, as you might have actually seen in my latest iPad Pro retrospective video, which, speaking of, I need to get a video idea for, Saturday.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of the privacy. I mean, I get the point. The problem is, I think they do too good of a job.
It's the exact problem, because, I mean, I get that recording with tripods like I do is a bit niche, so...
Well, even then,
it's fine for most cases, but...
Tabby uses those privacy screen protectors on his phones, and I found out when I visited him a couple months ago, it's a bit hard to see some stuff when he's trying to share me something on his phone. Just like, oh, let me pull up this picture real quick and show me something on his phone. It is... I need to take this and hold it in my face in order to actually see it. It's because that privacy screen protector really does such a good job, and it's just it becomes inconvenient when, for one, you're actually trying to show somebody something on your phone, and then another thing I found that I personally would find very inconvenient. What if your phone is just resting on a table? It's not at an ideal
these are all
angle.
valid points.
So, well, I get, yes, you don't want anyone else lurking over, looking at whatever it is you're doing on your phone. It's just at the same time, it's like there are way too many drawbacks for me to consider using those privacy screen protectors. So,
that makes perfect sense, but we butchered that topic to death, so shall we go ahead and move on with the iPhone 8 Plus, the Alpha fixed.
Oh yeah, I fixed this phone. Wait, that's... Oh, there. Wrong one. See, the problem is, the thing that I hate about black bezel phones is they look practically identical from the front. Do they not?
Mm-hmm.
So...
I mean, from that angle, yeah, because I can't see the home button close up enough.
Well, because my vision sucks. I don't notice the home button immediately, and so to me it looks like the XS Max and the 8 Plus, they're practically the same size, even though the XS Max is technically larger. But oh, come on, please unlock this stupid home button. Despite that, the topic is my 8 Plus is finally fixed. It's not fully fixed, unfortunately, but the back glass is no longer cracked. In fact, do I still have the box around here somewhere? I had it around here somewhere. It shouldn't have gone too far. It probably did go too far. Where the heck did I put it? Aha! All right. Try not to spread shards of glass around, but this was the end result of the... I didn't get very far. I have no clue what adhesive Apple uses to adhere the glass to the frame of this thing, but it is so sticky, and more importantly, so heat resistant, I actually ended up melting the frame instead of the glue.
Dang.
So I'll showcase the damage here. So it basically melted right at the antenna band, but because that's broken now, right here, that's not supposed to be there. And so this chassis is very much damaged. I actually don't know if the battery is still usable or not. I'm not even going to try to pull it out because I'm so worried I'm going to snap it in half. And I don't have a fire extinguisher at hand, so we're not going to do that. But nonetheless, the old chassis is kaput. And now that leaves me with basically the new one here, which it's not a complete brand new chassis. It's got it's a small little mark right there. Oh yeah, the camera can't even focus on it, but no, yeah, it's got a small ding in the corner of it. But other than that, it's basically looks like a new chassis. The glass is completely solid, and unfortunately, the home button appears to be damaged still. I mean, it works.
Wasn't it all damaged before?
Yeah. And the reason why was because the frame was the frame on the old chassis was bent so bad. In fact, actually, putting the display back on this, I had to bend the display to get it to go on this chassis due to the old one being so mangled and bent. But no, it appears that the bending chassis actually ended up damaging the home button here, and so unfortunately, that's probably never going to function like normal again, and I'd probably have to do a whole screen replacement. But yeah, that would suck. But so far, I mean, it's got new back glass. It's got a chassis in much nicer condition. It's got a newer battery. It's at 83% health now instead of whatever 70-something it was at last time. So...
My 8 Plus is at like... The last I checked it was at like 82, somewhere around there. It's got... I'm sure it has dropped a little bit since I haven't checked its battery health in a few years, but... Actually... Never mind, I will check it right now. My 8 Plus, because I used to use an iPhone 8 Plus back in the day. I'm gonna check my old 8 Plus, just see. Battery life on my 8 Plus is not good. Okay, it's booting up.
Oh, it's pretty bad on this too.
The old one. My 8's battery life is my iPhone 8, which let me grab my iPhone 8. It's all the way towards the left. My iPhone 8 has such bad battery life that you could tell it was clearly owned by somebody who doom scrolled frequently.
Oh. No, yeah, I mean,
because it was its battery life is it runs iOS 15, mind you, not even 16. Its battery life is pretty up. Okay, my iPhone 8 Plus is 13% charged. Let's actually see what the battery health is on this. It's still 81%, which is around the same it was in 2021 when I left it off, which makes sense given that. Here comes notifications. Let me go ahead and power this thing down before we get too many more notifications. just my iPhone XS that fell, broken one. So I should probably speaking of, I should probably fix my iPhone XS sometime. Because I mean, there's not much that I have to lose with this phone if I somehow manage to break it even worse.
I mean, that's how I felt with the 8 Plus, especially when I broke it. I mean, I broke it like a month ago trying to fix this.
Well, you also had your repairability of your 2019 Vehicle Cross Essence, so
Yeah, that didn't help. The only reason why I decided to pull the trigger was because I finally sold something. Oh yeah, I sold my old memory from my Dell XPS. I sold that, and I spent that money to buy the new iPhone 8 Plus chassis. So
congratulations, Alpha.
yeah, so I made money. Woohoo! Now if only someone would buy my old Thunderbolt dock and this. I still have this.
What's that?
It's a glove box dampener. It slows the rate at which the glove box opens. The reason why I have that is because I thought I busted the old one in my car in the process of trying to change out the cabin air filter. Turns out I just unhooked it. The part is fine. So now I have this for no reason. I don't need it. But the problem is, based off of what I'm seeing on eBay right now, nobody needs this either. I just have it listed for like $20. And that's it. So, yeah. Apparently, nobody's looking for glove box dampeners. So, yeah, it'd be nice if I could get rid of that.
I didn't even know what a glove box dampener. I didn't even know what a glove box dampener was. So,
yeah, it's supposed to prevent the glove box from just slamming open, just gravity quickly opening it. It's supposed to luxurify the experience of opening your glove box, per se.
Yeah, I figured. Once you explained it, I figured that's what it did, but didn't even realize they had a separate component for that.
Yep. So, yeah, I have no need for that part, but apparently nobody else does, because I guess nobody else has broken their glove box in the process of trying to change out the cabin air filter, because I really despise the engineers of that car. I love the car. I do like the car. I love driving it. I love owning it. I hate fixing it. That's what I hate most.
Makes sense.
Get this. Get. We just discovered this on Sunday, actually. I called up my uncle to get the car scheduled for going into his shop so we can test this out. He asked for the VIN. I provided him the VIN. No, there is a grand total 0 repair documentation on the car. There are no manuals. There are no diagrams. There is legit nothing on this car.
That's a small problem.
Yeah, so that's going to make this troubleshooting process infinitely more difficult, because we have no wiring diagrams. We have no anything. We have nothing to work with in terms of information from the actual engineers of the car, which the engineers already did a bad enough job. They couldn't have at least supplied documentation, made it available. Isn't there a whole right to repair thing that really puts a big emphasis on the automotive space?
Yes, there is. And does Louis Rossmann focus on right to repair for automotives, or is it just tech?
Technically, it is right to repair in general for everything, but because he works in the electronics sector, that's where he tends to focus on a little bit more. But technically, no, he
Makes
is
sense.
an advocate for right to repair everything, even stuff outside of tech. Like, he's brought up John Deere in the past, how they've been.
Oh yeah, John.
Yeah. Everyone knows John Deere's been
tractors
pretty
aren't
bad
even-
with it.
Well, also their tractors aren't even that good quality anymore, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's what I hear too. But I mean, I am so surprised because you can get documentation on almost any other GM vehicle out there, but why is there no documentation or wiring diagrams or anything? Why are there a grand total of 0 resources available for this car?
I think, actually, I would suggest that you should keep it for a few decades because, from what it sounds like, your car, the 2019 Buick LaCrosse Essence, is a rare car.
It shouldn't
And
be.
you know what happens to the value.
You know what? I
It
gotta
shouldn't be a
look this
rare
up.
car.
I gotta
Because
look
if it's a
this up.
rare car, then you might want to hold on to it for a few decades.
Oops. Let's see.
Because I've seen a few Buick LaCrosses out in the wild, although I don't also. see
They
that
are
many
most
Buicks
likely
on
going to be the
road, but-
V6 variants and not the hybrid.
Yeah, that makes sense, but yeah, you might have a very rare car.
It's not even that rare. I saw somebody moved in town recently with a black, with basically a black version of my car.
Okay, so it can't be that rare, but still.
Hybrids sold.
It's not like one. It's not like a Mustang GT40. Which I learned what it was yesterday.
USA. Okay, here we go. You're kidding me. That's what? 7,241 units in the U.S.
That's not a rare car, so.
No, that is. That is rare.
Oh, right. Yeah, that is. I mean, or I guess BMW M cars are. I guess I'm used to the rarity of BMW M cars, but for a Buick, I consider holding on to your Buick for a few decades in that case.
Well, it has no value if it doesn't run.
But if it keeps running for 40 years, then you might become a rich man.
That is insane. They only sold 7,200 units of the hybrid.
Well, that explains why there's probably no documentation. But still.
They still should provide it though. Like, doesn't Ferrari and Lamborghini have documentation on how to repair their cars? Albeit they charge a pretty penny for it.
Yeah, I think that I don't. I have never actually seen a Ferrari in real life, so I don't really know much about. I think I've seen a couple of Lamborghinis in my life.
That's still wild to me. My car really is that rare. I mean, albeit no, it's not like a special edition Rolls Royce or Ferrari or anything like that. But I mean, for a regular everyday person luxury car. That's a pretty small number. Wow, that's wild. Okay, so
All right, shall I move on to something else that's rare about a smart ring that actually makes sense?
a smart ring that makes sense. What? It doesn't make dollars either.
No, I mean, but so you know what a Casio G-Shock watch is?
Yep.
They made it's currently only available in some European countries and Japan, obviously, but because Casio is based in Japan, but Casio has made a ring version of the G-Shock. That is literally a little watch for your finger.
Yeah, I still wouldn't get it.
I mean, I might actually, if they come to the United States, I might get one just to review for my YouTube channel because it is kind of cute and interesting. But you haven't even heard the best part about it.
Oh, what is the best part about it?
They designed it correctly, so that way, because it's designed like an actual watch, where the part that you actually that's on the outer edge of your finger, that's where the battery is housed, and the stuff that you put in the band that you put around your finger is literally just the band. That is designed so that way the battery, even if it does somehow expand, which it's highly unlikely with Casio, but if the battery does expand, it'll just go out, so that way you can still get it all off.
My thing though, and I mean it should be obvious given how I roll. Screen real estate. When it comes to wearable tech, you are not beating the watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's better than the watch, but I'm saying this is, weirdly enough, one of the best smart rings out there I mean, my biggest gripe with smart rings is that they don't have displays to the point where they're useless. But I mean, if all you really like is just digital watches anyway, then that G-Shock ring might actually be a viable ring for you, provided you're in the country where they sell them. But I just thought it was interesting, so I thought I'd mention it. That's all.
Yeah, I'm at least grateful that they did what Samsung didn't.
Yes.
Oh, that was just such a wild story. But I don't have too much to commentate on this because I just think smart rings in general are pretty pointless.
I mean, that makes sense, but shall we move on to our next topic that does actually make sense?
All right.
So NVIDIA and TSMC just produced their first Blackwell wafer for a chip assembled in the United States, but the actual wafer itself must be shipped back to Taiwan to complete the final ship.
Oh.
But it's progress for American assembly.
Yeah, I suppose. Although there's other news in regards to NVIDIA and Intel and AMD and... But I don't know. I thought about putting this in here because it's pretty interesting. There's an alleged report out there that NVIDIA, AMD, I think Intel might somehow be involved, but I don't know. The three primary ones are NVIDIA, AMD, and OpenAI. There's an alleged report out there that claims they're faking revenue.
I mean...
And how they're doing it is kind of interesting. Effectively, what they're doing is they are making. There's a lot of news going around about all these different partnerships and how, oh, we're about to invest in each other and all of that. And at this current state, everything is pretty much in an IOU state. But because
What's an IOU state?
it's literally exactly as it sounds, IOU. It's not a letter acronym. They're legit words. IOU, like
Oh.
I owe you $5. I don't owe you $5.
Oh, that. Oh, I was thinking you were mentioning like an acronym because of IOU,
Yeah.
like the vowels.
Yep. But no. Effectively, what they're doing is they're making a bunch of IOUs, so no money has transpired, nothing's been transacted, but they're able to claim that is incoming revenue. It's not about how much money actually comes in. It's about how much is supposed to, in theory, come in. They're somehow claiming that as revenue, which is, I guess, inflating the stock. Because, I mean, shareholders like, hey, incoming revenue. We like this. Yay! So it's inflating their stocks.
There's a word for this.
Name it. I actually don't know the word.
Fraud.
Yes!
You couldn't have thought of fraud.
I thought you were going to have a more other fancier term, but I guess not. Isn't that interesting?
I mean, specifically, that's misleading shareholders, so that's technically stock fraud. But yeah, that's.
So again, it's an alleged report, but the reason why I'm putting some faith in it is because of who released the report.
Gamers Nexus.
Yes.
I really need to start watching his videos sometime. I just haven't. Now that school is back in session, I don't have that much time to watch YouTube anymore. So
Yeah. Again, he's super
But-
into his typical thing is like PC hardware testing, and he goes
I see.
super hardcore with it. It is all about collecting data and numbers and all sorts of terms I've never heard of. But that's what he primarily does. But the reason why I watch him is when he goes into talking about the market and tech corporations. And he has a separate channel dedicated for consumer advocacy, kind of like what Louis Rossmann does. But I mean, when it comes to him reporting on the market and this type of stupid behavior, he is so good at it.
I mean, getting back, although Stephen Gamers Nexus's channel does sound interesting indeed. Getting back on topic, it makes sense. It would make sense that they would be faking revenue. Since think about it, they always release whenever they got something cooking. They don't really whenever they've got something cooking. That's the primary headlines that they like to release, so they can pursue their real business of generating hype. So that actually, I mean, again, there's no proof that this is true. So you should take what we were saying with a grain of salt. We're just two guys
Hearing
doing
things.
this talking on the Discord call, hearing things. But this could be But if this is real, then this is going to be probably if this comes out as being true, this is going to be the biggest scandal in the tech industry since. This
Honey?
will be bigger than This will be bigger than Theranos.
Oh. Oh, yeah. You know, you might be right on that. Theranos was huge.
This might be a bigger scandal than Theranos. I'm trying to think of this will be a bigger scandal than Theranos, Apple Maps when it first released. What are some other big tech scandals out there? I'm trying to think of. I mean, I know small techs
Nikola
and
Nikola Motors.
Nikola Motors. This will be bigger than Nikola Motors. Apple Maps, the launch of Apple Maps, Theranos, and Mark Zuckerberg's. We don't want a society where there's a camera and everyone's living.
Yes.
This will be a bigger scandal than all of those combined. And this will also be a bigger scandal than the. This will be might possibly be. This might possibly be a bigger scandal than Enron. I mean, actually, no, I don't think it can beat Enron, but
in general, it's just like I've been noticing every day now. It's like every day I'm hearing, oh, some new big corporation, be it Nvidia, AMD, OpenAI, Intel, any of like. I keep hearing, oh, new partnership to do this, new partnership to do that. It feels like I'm hearing that every single day.
Same, and what makes this, and the reason why I'm saying this will be a bigger scandal than possibly even Enron is because Microsoft, well, not necessarily OpenAI, but Nvidia, AMD, and Intel have all built up, they're all established companies that were built up for having, well, until recent years, good reputations. So that's why I'm saying it'll be bigger than Enron, because Enron, I haven't done that much research on Enron, but Enron, from what I understand, wasn't exactly the most. I mean, it wasn't really well established until it was figured out that it was a fraud, and it was a fraud the entire time. But these companies like Nvidia, AMD, and Intel, they haven't been frauds the entire time, and this is big. This will definitely be bigger than Nikola Motors if it comes out, because obviously everyone knows that all of Trevor Milton's companies were fraudulent companies.
It's just that's why I didn't really think too much about the Nvidia and TIFs, the whole stuff in China, the whole stuff here being manufactured in the U.S. and such, because with what's going on, it just it really makes you curious. Hold on now, what are they actually doing here? Because everyone's got a partnership where everyone benefits, and I'm going to use a reference from Steve. The way he described it is, one guy is getting paid to dig a hole by another guy, and then the guy digging the hole is paying the guy who paid him to dig the hole to fill the hole back up again. So while
it's effectively a never-ending circle.
Yeah, while no work is ultimately getting done, no money needs to move, but because of all this promised money, they can somehow claim this as revenue, and that looks good for shareholders. It's just, what? Really makes you question the motives of what's going on here. Though, of course, if you're one who has caught AI disease, then no, you wouldn't recognize that this type of thing is going on.
No. If you have artificial intelligence disease, you won't recognize this, because their goal is to infect. The goal of this.
It's like we have super immunity against this whole AI stuff or something.
No, I'm trying to think of a word to describe a group that's getting together to do something evil. There's a word that I can't remember.
A syndicate?
I mean, that's not exactly it, but I mean, it's effectively like a It's effectively like a terrorist group with all these companies, except instead of actual terror, they just want to inflict artificial intelligence disease instead.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Because if this winds up being true, then all these deals are the reason why Apple made Apple Intelligence and had that disaster. So
Yeah.
if this disaster goes down, this will be one of the worst disasters ever in technology. Because
Yeah, this will flop harder than Apple Intelligence, which everyone knows how bad Apple Intelligence flopped.
Because the problem with this is that this is harder than. Because the problem with this deal faking is that this deal faking, this changed these deals changed the entire tech industry, and they forced other companies into the AI game too. And so if it finds out that's all fake, then this will be far bigger than the Honey scandal.
Yes, far bigger than Honey. And Honey's already bad enough. I'm still waiting for Megalag to upload another video. He's supposedly uploading more parts at some point, but I don't know. It's almost been a year and he hasn't uploaded anything.
Megalag hardly ever uploads, which granted, I do understand. He at least does lots of research in his videos, so...
True.
And I don't even know if YouTube is his primary job or if he has another job.
I wouldn't be shocked if he had another job. There's no way. With how frequently he uploads, sure, he gets some big views, but with how frequently he uploads, there's no way YouTube's his primary job.
No, but at least he does, and he's mentioned doing other stuff too, but at least he puts lots of time into his videos, so...
Yeah, they're awesome, high-quality videos, something I think I'm kind of starting to slack off on just a bit. Primarily because I keep forgetting to pull the camera out, or I'm trying to get stuff done. It's just, I don't know. That's a problem for another topic, but no, nonetheless, I think we butchered this one to death. What's next?
So, I just want to preface this next topic by saying that I have found no other sources of this topic, so there's a chance this may be fake.
Yeah.
And obviously I couldn't find any information on Google about this, but this probably isn't also the thing that they would like to publicize, and knowing their passion of sharing information with insurance companies.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing their passion with the U.S. for when it comes to aiding in politics, this, I mean, it could be fake, but it could also be real. And of course, there's an impact ways too, which, without further ado, there is an alleged report that Google Maps is reporting speed to police if drivers speed for more than 3 seconds.
Isn't that insane?
Makes perfect sense. As I mean, insurance, that's what insurance companies do already via the tracking apps on your phone. There's a reason why those insurance tracking apps offer cheaper plans, is because the insurance is the product. Your data is.
Yeah. Even then, it's not just the insurance app on your phone. Take my car, for example. I've got OnStar.
Yeah.
Guess what OnStar really loves to do?
Report speed.
Oh, more than that.
Who does it report? Please tell me OnStar does not report speed to the cops.
It doesn't report that to the cops. What it does is, obviously it's collected by GM because OnStar is a GM program. That information ends up getting sold to... It's some data broker. I don't remember which. There was a specific... It has a specific name. I don't remember which one it is, but it gets sold to a specific data broker, and that data broker then sells that information to all of the insurance companies. And...
Good thing I don't drive a GM car.
The thing is, it's not just GM too. I mean, I'm just giving GM as an example because this is what I drive, but
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
are
I know-
so many
I know
other
other
cars that are just
car
as
companies
bad.
do it.
Nissan is horrible. I think Nissan is actually the worst,
Yeah, Nissan is the worst.
especially considering what they make you agree to in their terms of service.
Yeah.
That-
that's not something we discuss.
Yeah, we're not discussing that here. We're going to try to keep this safe for work for a change. So,
Yeah, but
no, I've watched a video. Apparently, someone had bought a Camaro, a Chevy Camaro. Had her initial insurance payment on it. Come next payment, it is jacked up 4 times higher than what it originally was. And what is the reason for it being jacked up 4 times higher? Well, it wasn't because of age. This was a woman in her 30s, I think. It wasn't because of getting into an accident. Car has a clean history. She took it on back roads and decided to have a little fun with it. That was enough.
I
to
do
jack
get
her
that
insurance by 4 times what it was.
I mean, I get that. Yes. I mean, having a little fun on back roads can be dangerous. I can understand that, but that shouldn't jack your insurance up by 4 times. Since I'm going to use this analogy, car insurance is like public school. For most, I mean, car insurance is actually worse than public school because, public school can be annoying because it feels like you're forced to doing all this work and don't really have a choice. Well, car insurance is effectively the same thing. Whereas if you want to drive, which most people do, then you have to pay for car insurance. And if you don't like what the insurance companies do, then too bad. Because at least at public school, I mean, private school does exist, and so does homeschooling. At least there's that with school. But the problem with car insurance is that your only other alternative to car insurance, at least here in the States, is to not drive, which is way too
I will note,
So
car insurance is not legally required in every state in the U.S. There are some states where you are not legally obligated or legally required to have car insurance on your car.
I meant liability.
Oh yeah, there's
because
that.
liability is required in all 50 states. So, yeah, but that's either. But liability insurance is what. But either way, the point is that like car insurance is effectively. Yeah, most states don't actually require car insurance. But getting back on topic, the problem is that these insurance companies are effectively. All these insurance companies, for the most part, they're all the same.
Yeah, they're not all that different from each other. I mean,
it's like
that's not entirely true. I found there's 2 different groups. There's your big corporations like State Farm, Geico, Progressive, Allstate, that type of stuff. And then you got your local insurance providers, which is what I use. They tend to be cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah, the local ones don't have the money and know how to do that. So that's better. But these big time insurance companies are basically, I mean, it's not a total monopoly, but it's close enough to a monopoly to the point where it's not really, to a point where it's often just not, to the point where it's often just a little bit. They effectively monopolize the customer by collecting data so that way they can use excuses to pay more.
Yeah,
to make more money.
It is so annoying how our data gets misused the way it does, and like that is one of them right there. Oh, and just so you know, the Model 3 is actually up there on one of the worst in term. Tesla is up there in terms of one of the worst tracking things and such for insurance companies, just so you're aware.
Good to know. But yeah, getting
It's
back
not
on
as
topic
bad
of
as
Google Maps
Nissan.
performance-
It is not as bad as Nissan. I will let you know that much. But
Getting back on topic to Google Maps reporting speed to police of drivers speed for more than 3 seconds. I mean, that's just not cool. Since oftentimes the flow of traffic is far higher than the speed limit, and also, I mean, 4 seconds of speeding, that's not really, that doesn't really matter in the real world. But that's aside the point. But I guess the one message to take away from this is that even though this might not be true, if you're an iPhone user, use Apple Maps.
yes.
Use Apple Maps just because of this.
And in
if you're an
case
Android
anyone
user,
is
I mean-
generating ideas from this potential rumor that we're hearing, don't do it. And here's a few reasons why. Number one, false reports. The emergency hotline hates false reports.
What ideas are you talking about?
If they were to try to integrate something like this in their navigation system.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's a good point.
yeah, for one, the emergency hotline really doesn't like false alarms and false reports.
No.
They actually tend to persecute people for that type of thing because it's an
Yes, 'cause
emergency
that's-
hotline.
Yes, I mean the reason why the government is actually, because of too many false reports, they've actually debated whether to shut down to make people start paying for 911 calls because of that.
Oh, that'd be terrible. That'd be horrible.
Yeah, that would be, but still, that just goes to show you how much emergency hotlines hate false reports.
And how could false calls be generated? Well, for one, what if a speed limit is incorrectly marked?
Because speed limits can change and they can be incorrectly marked. Does it mean
I will let you know this.
what if they're using Wikipedia as their source?
Yeah, I will let you know this. In my car, when I'm driving on M26 to get to work every single day, the speed limit of M26 is posted at 55 miles an hour. Guess what my car thinks the speed limit is?
45.
Yup. So the car thinks I'm driving 10 miles an hour above the speed limit. But I'm not, because it's posted at 55. And because usually I
that's
drive
because
5 over on that
oftentimes-
stretch, I'm usually driving 60 miles an hour. So that's because literally everybody else does.
Yeah, but that just goes to show another problem, which is that which is that oftentimes these navigation systems in cars especially, they often do not get updated. So consequently, it'll still keep the old maps up with old speed limits that could have changed for better or for worse, because that could also be used to where if speed limits aren't updated, then it could report people as not speeding when they are, if they lower the speed limit in an area for some reason.
Yeah. So it just in general, it's a mess that I don't think should be gotten involved with. I mean, also, say a police officer, for whatever reason, has to do a chase to catch a speeder. Well, at that point, he does have to violate the speed limit to a reasonable extent. He can't just go pedal to the metal, max out the limiter. He's got to be at least reasonable with his driving. But At the same time, he's likely to be violating the speed limit himself to catch up to the speeding car.
Yeah.
So now you got his phone calling the emergency hotline to report that he's speeding when he's in the... Like, it's a mess. It's not smart. And ultimately, like, even though, yes, in an ideal world, everyone would actually follow posted speed limits, that would be an ideal world. Well, guess what? That's not how the real world works.
Oftentimes, these posted speed limits are not what they should be.
Yes. Most of the time, they're too slow, especially in this area. I've only seen one occasion where it's posted too fast.
Yeah, same. Speed limits are very rarely posted too fast.
And so, I mean, I don't know what to... I mean, sometimes they'll increase the posted speed limit because, like, cars can drive that fast just fine, and I don't know. It's there's something infuriating about. I can't describe it too much, but there's a particular road near the office where I work, and it's posted at 1 speed. It's not like a residential or downtown speed limit. It's a tad higher, but it's still not that fast. And everyone's typically doing like 10 to 15 over on that stretch.
There's one back road in my area that I've only been on. There's one highway in my area that there's one state road in my area that I can't describe, but it has a speed limit of 40 miles an hour almost the entire stretch. Sometimes it's lower, even in its most rural stretches when it should be posted at 55.
So, yeah, I get that it's a mess, and in an ideal world, we would obey the speed limit, the posted speed limit signs. We would drive like we are in Germany. You respect that speed limit when there is one, and when you hit the international speed limit, then you go pedal to the metal.
What's the international speed limit?
In Germany?
You said international, so...
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that was not right. No, when you're in Germany... Whatever the speed limit is, you respect that sign. You respect that speed limit. But once you see the national speed limit sign, then you can go pedal to the metal. Because, yeah, there's no international speed limit. The EU would have to decide on that, and I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. But
well, the problem is that there's some countries where it's a lot safer to speed than in others. Because I mean, in the United States, I mean, I hate to admit this, but in most places in the United States, you need posted speed limits, even on interstates, because there's so many hills and mountains.
Until you get out to Kansas.
I mean, yeah, Kansas would be like maybe one exception where you could do not. I mean, you could get away with non-posted speed limits realistically on. Actually, now that I think about it, you could do it on most interstates. But the problem is that you have to have some specific rules so that way people just don't get too crazy.
Well, that's the thing. In Germany, the reason why they can have the Autobahn and its national speed limit being infinity is because the drivers are disciplined. Like, slower traffic does actually adhere to the rightmost lane.
Yeah, that's a concept that some Americans need to learn. I mean, I admit I am slightly guilty of that whenever I've been on sharp curves and whatnot, but I mean, most of the time, yeah, I do understand slower traffic keeps right.
Mm-hmm. Which, technically, I do believe it is actual law here in the United States. It's just nobody follows it.
most states actually have laws about that. As in the southeast, I know it's keep right except to pass, or else slower traffic keep right. Different states post different things. In Texas, well, not the south, but in the south, it's law in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and in South Carolina. I know there you have to keep right except to pass, or else I mean it's the same in Oklahoma too. You have to follow the slower traffic keep right. In Ohio and Michigan, that's also law. And in California and Washington, that's actually law.
So yeah, that's the reason why Germany gets away with it. It's because their drivers are disciplined. They actually follow the road rules and don't interpret it in their own way.
Well, also fewer people. Well, also public transportation is a lot more abundant in Germany than in the U.S.
But again, because Germany
Well-
is home to Volkswagen Group, a few other automakers, Mercedes, BMW, there's a lot of car enthusiasm in Germany in particular.
Yeah, because the big problem is in the U.S. is that most people. I mean, even if you had is that you can't regularly have 100 to 120 mile per hour traffic in the U.S. On interstates because first of all, semi trucks that's too unsafe for semi trucks, which we have way too many of on America's highways. And I'm referring to America because it's a North American problem, not just a U.S. problem, but also most American car companies like to put weak engines in their cars to the point where they can't really handle the speeds of the Autobahn.
I mean, I've seen in out of spec videos when they do their stuff on the Autobahn. No, you'll find a lot of cars with a little weaker powertrains on the Autobahn.
Yeah, I mean,
But they keep right.
I mean, you do find Yes, and they're not. One time when I was driving on a road trip, or I wasn't driving, I was riding because this was back in March when I saw my permit. But there was this. I was in my dad's M6, and there was this guy in a Hyundai Elantra. Now, mind you, my dad was going like 90, I think, somewhere like that. And there's a guy in a Hyundai Elantra passing us at 100.
Oh, gosh. I have no idea how that motor's going to survive.
Race that guy.
Because if there's one thing I know about Hyundai Motors, there is a reason why they have the longest warranty in the industry. And it's not because Hyundai's being generous. Yeah, Hyundai's a bit known for engine failures, and so I'm a bit curious to know how long that Elantra's going to last on the road.
That was in March 2024 when we did that, so it might not even be on the road now. It might not. I mean, it also depends on where a guy lives, because if he doesn't live by an interstate, then he's probably not doing that.
No, he's probably driving like that everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's a good point.
Nonetheless, we've gotten so far off topic. We got to get through the rest of what's on the list.
All right, we don't have that many topics, but moving on to our next topic, Google's quantum shipped Willow solved a problem 13 times faster than average supercomputers.
Cool. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, that's cool. I can't wait for this to make it into consumer tech a decade or two from now, but
we got to get through the AI BS phase before we can get there.
Yeah, then we'll actually get to the maybe if companies spent less time focusing on the AI BS, they could actually focus on things that are the future, like quantum computing. Maybe working on that to make that a reality, but that's aside the point. Shall we move on to some bad news?
Okay, what is it?
So, a $60 modification to Meta's Ray-Ban glasses disables the privacy-protecting recording light. So, in other words, you can disable the light that indicates that recording is going on.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
No, and did you see that Technology Connections video about the useless design of the webcam activity light?
I didn't actually know he made a video on that.
2017.
When did he release that?
2017.
Oh,
Early 2017 specifically, so...
no, I
Well,
wouldn't
that
have
video is
seen
quite
that.
old, but basically Alec from Technology Connections, he mentioned how webcam activity lights are useless unless you put them on the same power source. That way, if the webcam activity light turns off, the camera turns off.
Yeah.
And Meta made the mistake of not putting the light and the camera on the same switch.
That's kind of why
That's what the rush is.
green and orange indicators on our iPhones are kind of useless because it's all pure software.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's still nice to have, but it's not perfect because of that.
I'm trying to recall. Does Apple actually wire it properly, where the LED indicator light is actually hooked up to the camera's power?
Let me look that up. How are Apple's webcam activity lights hooked up? They only work hand in hand. They're hardwired.
Oh, okay. So they are hooked up to camera's power.
At least Apple knows how to make it the correct way.
That's good, at least. So,
But yeah, these Meta Ray Bans, that just goes to show you what. Now you just have to remember that the activity light on Meta's Ray Bans are useless.
yeah, come to think of it, it was the day that Tabby, Talon, and we went into DC to explore a bit. We actually took the metro in instead of driving in, actually. We were walking down the National Mall, I think, and there was this this treats truck trying to vacate the area because I guess he was illegally parked and illegally selling stuff. And in the process of trying to vacate, he ripped the bumper off of a Chevy Suburban. And as we're watching the whole thing unfold, there's a guy standing next to us, and he said to us that he caught the whole thing on a camera. And I'm like, you're not holding your phone, dude. What camera are you holding? And I guess Tabby figured it out before me. Apparently he was wearing the Ray-Bans, and I didn't even notice. Uh-oh, not a good time, dude.
Who's calling?
Talon. Not a good time, Talon.
Doesn't Talon know you're recording at this time?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he forgot. Let me see. There's the mic. Recording the podcast right now. Oh, he figured it out immediately. So, alright.
Well, he's also in the Central Time Zone now, so
Yep. So,
he might not be
alright.
used to a time change.
Oh no, he should have gotten used to it at this point.
That's well. Also, speaking of,
He's
daylight
probably trying to
savings time is
figure out
about
his
to
credit
end.
card. So,
Are you excited for daylight savings time to end? Because I'm not.
why are you not? We're gaining an extra hour of sleep.
No, that's in the spring. We
lose an hour in the
fall.
spring.
Oh. So the reason why I don't like again, you live on the western edge of the eastern time zones, and I live on the eastern edge of the central time zone. So our experiences of this are going to be very different because of that. But my problem is that in my area, the sun sets at 4:30 p.m. in November and December, to the point where immediately after I get home from school, I have to start recording my YouTube videos so that way there will still be daylight.
And what time does the sun get up in your area?
During the peak of the lack of daylight, like I don't even remember specifically, but it's like, actually, let me check.
It's around 8 here. That's when our sunrise is, 8 o'clock in the morning.
It's like 6:30. It's like 6:30 a.m. Yeah, I think so. But a lot of people complain like, oh, that would resort to later sunrises. But if it went to standard time if we went to daylight savings time all year, but the problem is that would result in later sun. The problem is that here where I live, the earlier sunrise is basically useless because after just a few weeks of time zone change, it's already dark when I get up again anyway. So I'm effectively gaining nothing.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, usually in the wintertime, I'll be leaving work just as the sun's setting too. So it's not like it's a big deal. It's not like I have a major advantage over you because I'm leaving the office when it's already dark out.
Yeah, that's. That's just. You're just in the westernmost edge, so you have to deal with a later sunrise, far later sunrise than me.
So, but
oh, I have to let one of my cats out. That's where you can get out.
Nonetheless, though, I don't think there's too much to discuss left with Meta's Ray-Ban problem.
No, I think we should move on to the next topic, which is Stellarium.
Okay.
Stellarium is a sextortion scam that uses InfoStealer malware, which is effectively a phishing malware, which you get from a phishing scam, to record your screen and webcam when an adult site is visited. And no, I'm not referring to a tax website. I'm referring to like pornography websites. And then the emails demand payment via showing the actual screenshot and in picture recorded with the webcam, and demands payment via email supposedly not send it to your relatives and friends, which is a sack of bull.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we keep it safe for work for this episode for a change, but nope, guess not. Oh my goodness. Guess not.
Yeah, but either way, just this is another reason why you should, first of all, don't click on links in phishing emails,
Yeah.
but also like visit websites yourself and not via links and emails. But also, maybe don't go on these adult sites, and also understand that they're not going to actually send the image to your family. And if you want to have a little fun with the scammers, just say, hey, go ahead and send it to my family and friends. I don't care.
I would not recommend doing that. Just so you know.
Why not?
I don't know. I'm worried it might incentivize them to actually go through with the dare. And, well, then that makes for an awkward situation.
mean, this is also why you don't go on adult websites.
Yeah. Nonetheless, I don't think there's anything else to discuss about this. Oh, geez.
Shall I move on to the European Union?
Oh, dear. What are they doing this time?
So, new EU laws are mandating that all USB-C cables must be detachable, and they must meet higher energy efficiency standards starting in 2028. The energy efficiency thing is in 2028. The detachable thing is starting pretty quickly. So, in other words, you can't hardwire cables to devices anymore under this new law.
So does that mean
Yes. Yes, they have to update it to have USB-C, a USB-C port if they're going to comply with these laws, which is getting ridiculous.
it absolutely is ridiculous.
I mean, it's better than cars having to conform to all these stupid environmental standards just because of one U.S. state. I mean, it's better than that. I'll give them credit for that. Because at least it impacts a whole entire market, but still, the problem is that the EU doesn't really have any tech companies of their own, so it's effectively them dictating foreign tech companies how to run. At this point, the EU is the CEO of Apple.
Yeah,
For
they've
reference,
gotten
Apple
too
showed up. The cable was
comfortable.
attached to his HomePod Mini.
They've gotten just a little too comfortable with the position they forced themselves in. And I can understand why a lot of countries have been considering leaving.
Yeah. Apple's not an EU-based company, so they don't have to agree with the EU's laws if they don't want to.
They shouldn't have to. It's just... I thought the whole point of the European Union was to try to create standards that allow intercompatibility between all EU nations all throughout Europe. And it's not just like in the tech industry. This is like everything to do with the nations, period. Like they have a system for driving into multiple countries. I mean, sure, you still need your passport to enter each one, but it's like, no, your plate can still be valid in multiple countries.
It's like how It's like how the continental North American countries have a system where your plate will still work in Canada and Mexico if you're American, and vice versa.
Power outlets. In North America, we all use the same standard. As bad of a
And
standard
Japan.
as it is.
And Japan also uses our outlets. Yeah, Japan uses our same outlets.
Oh, that's sad. No, yeah, our outlets
I think
terrible.
I think I can safely... Huh?
Our outlets are terrible.
Yeah, ours might not be the... I think the reason why Japan uses our outlets is because the U.S. rebuilt Japan after World War II. So naturally, they installed all the outlets, and believe it or not, there was actually a time when back when the U.S. military occupied Japan after they were rebuilding for World War II, there was a time when Japan had to drive on the right because of that. In Japan, for reference, they typically drive on the left.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I
British
thought most of their
engineers
cars
designed
there
their
were...
railways.
I thought most of their cars there were right-hand drive instead of left-hand drive.
Yep, it's because the British people designed their railways and they just went with it.
But I mean, that's all part of the whole ordeal with the EU. It's same outlets, so we don't need to. Oh, can Can we plug our device into this power outlet? Saying license plate and regulations for automobiles so they can travel internationally. I'm
Doesn't the
kind
EU
of
also
shocked
have-
that they don't have
doesn't-
some standardized language so everyone can actually speak with each other. Despite that, pretty much most people there know how to speak English at this point. It's still not an official language in most EU countries.
And they're not fluent. And most Europeans aren't fluent enough in English for it to be an official standard.
Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that English is the superior language. It's it's got its own problems.
No language is-
But
Yeah, no
the reason why
language
I'm
is truly the
saying this is
superior
because the reason why I'm saying why is English not the official language is because most of the time when you travel to Europe, I mean, when you went there, Teddy, how good were people speaking English there?
Now, British people are obviously easy to understand speaking English,
Well, yeah, that's because English is their official language.
but in France, I mean, the French people speaking English, they were. Have you ever had to listen to somebody with a thick, heavy accent to try to speak English?
In combination of Indians and Chinese, yes, quite a lot.
Yeah, that's effectively how. That's effectively, especially older French people. I found, but even younger French people too. French people are very hard to understand speaking English. Like you have to be very close, and you have to be paying intent attention.
Well, I found that's the case with almost any language you hear. So, but the thing is, though, I mean, they still speak English, even if it's not an official language.
I think the part of the reason why they don't want to conform to English being an official language is because they don't want to give up their own cultural identity. Because
That's the thing, and I can
their own
understand.
cultural identities.
I can understand this one problem is that it makes keeping cultures intact a bit of a problem, but it's just in general you have this continent that's the size of I don't know the next closest thing to relate its size to
The United States.
Is it really about that large?
Yes, Europe is that large.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you have this whole entire continent the size of the United States. And because I'm sure most of our audience is American based, it's like you gotta picture all of these different states having multiple standards for everything. Like, oh, they have their own standard wall outlet, they have their own standard license plate, they have their own
Don't
currency.
don't they? There was a time when different U.S. states had different currencies.
Yeah.
That was banned in the Constitution. But yeah, under the
sucked.
Articles of Confederation and colonization, you could actually different states had their own money, So, what? I mean, aren't there even different outlets within the EU?
Not particularly. I mean, obviously Britain has their own plugs. But
I know Britain obviously does.
for the most part, I don't really. I mean, I'm sure they have obviously the standard one that everyone's familiar with. I don't know the official name for it, but there's the two circle pronged outlet that they have.
I'll show the.
Oh yeah, you have them.
Hang on, let me find. Yeah, because the Apple International Travel Adapter Kit is really underrated. That's Korea. Korea's looks very similar to Europe's, which makes sense. Actually, that doesn't. Oh, that's a little bit. Brazil's is also very similar. Yeah, this is the EU one.
Yeah. Do you know the official name for the plug?
Huh?
Do you know the official name for the plug?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out on me too.
Huh?
You're cutting in and out on me too.
Right.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, I have to text Alpha. Alpha.
Give me a minute. I lost connection.
Murphy's Law is at its finest, people.
Oh, come on. Come on, Discord.
Hello. Alpha, you're frozen. You're more frozen than my freezer, which no longer has working defrost. Oh. Alpha's gone. Okay. This is fine. Who's not getting my text?
Oh, I straight up lost internet. Period. What? All right, we're going to cellular. Okay. Let's see here.
Okay, he read it. Ah.
Am I back?
You're back.
Am I back?
Are you talking? Or can you say something?
Am I back yet?
I think so.
Yeah, we just completely lost internet for some reason.
Did you keep recording?
My recording's still going, yeah.
All right, thank you. I'll be able to. This will be interesting to watch in post.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm on cellular right now, which I don't know if it's any great. I think the router just crashed because I got you on cellular, but right now none of my Wi-Fi devices are functioning. So I'll put this up here in the meantime so I can actually make sure I'm looking at the camera. Okay. Am I still coming through relatively clearly, or?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. I guess that's we're somewhat back. Let me try to put this somewhere where. Come on. Ugh, cell service here sucks. There. 2 bars of 5G plus, whatever the heck that means. Okay. I'll just leave that right there. And hopefully that will keep my cell signal relatively okay. Alright. Where were we before we got oh so rudely interrupted by my internet?
We were talking about outlet standardization in the EU and how the EU is supposed to standardize everything.
Yes. So, ultimately, because I think we're going off on it for a bit too long, I'll say this. While I agree that yes, there should be some standardization, they've taken it far too overboard.
Exactly. It's designed just for standardization across Europe and not something that'll impact the whole world. But getting back on topic to the how the USB-C cable is being detachable. I mean, I personally think that's good because that means that if your cable breaks, your whole device doesn't break. But at the same time, it's like, at the same time, the government should not be the one deciding it. It should be tech companies deciding that.
Exactly.
It's like how there was it's like how in Apple's antitrust case that might have forced Apple to offer more than 5 GB of iCloud in their base tier. Which, I mean, yes, 5 GB is very low, but at the same time, that is not the way that it should be done.
Absolutely.
It's like labor unions. How yes, companies should treat their workers fairly, but shouldn't be forced through labor unions.
So, nonetheless, I don't think we have anything more to say on that.
No, shall we move on to Rivian's also $4,000 e-bike?
As crazy as it is, I'm kinda debating buying one, maybe?
The also e-bike is so cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's one complaint that I do have, and it actually has to do with its new technology that they're pioneering, and it's that it's effectively pedal by wire, where there's no actual physical connection from the pedals to the wheel itself. It's all based off of a motor, and the motor is generating resistance in the pedals, and that's sending an electrical signal to the motor that's actually driving the wheel. So,
what's your gripe?
my gripe is, what happens if the battery dies? Because
yikes.
If there's no power to power that motor that's disconnected from the pedals physically, then you can probably imagine what the problem is.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, still, the also e-bike is cool. My gripe with it, other than that, is that it charges via USB-C, which, as we already discussed, is USB-C charging e-bike is way too slow.
I mean, in a sense, yes, but to combat that, there's a goal to make this efficient, supposedly, so that way they can use smaller batteries, therefore it doesn't take as long to charge via Type-C.
That I mean, at least Rivian is doing that too, so that is helpful. And their helmet with lights and speakers, I mean, the lights on the helmet, that is very handy, and I do like that. And I also like how they have red headlights on the also bike too, but also as a brand by Rivian, by the way. But I do like the helmet. Speakers on the helmet, I mean, I get the point of that, but at the same time, it just kind of, I mean, I get the point of that. It's actually cool, I'll say.
Well, I'm not typically one for wearing a helmet, so it doesn't really matter that much to me.
You don't wear a helmet.
Not really, no.
Oh my. Alpha?
What?
There's a reason why helmets should be worn when bicycling.
I'm not going that high speed, though. If I'm on a motorcycle, no, definitely I'm wearing one. But on a bike, I'm not going that fast.
No, you're not. But you can still get into accidents on a bike, and there are actually times when I have fallen off my regular bike, mind you, just a mechanical one, that wasn't even going that fast, and I have fallen, and it would have been far worse had it not been for the helmet. So, yeah, you should wear a helmet.
And I've fallen off my bike plenty of times too. And you want to know something? Never once has my head hit the ground. And it's because when I fall, it's not because I'm going forward. It's not like I'm tipping over a wheel. What's happening is the bike is I'm taking a turn, and I hit some loose ground, and it slips from underneath me. And at that point, it's not my head that hits the ground. It's actually my hands. My hands and my knees are what hits the ground.
I mean, that's true, but still, I mean, you should. I still recommend wearing a helmet, but I mean, the speakers on the helmet, getting back on topic, the speakers on the helmet, that is actually cool, so that way you don't have to worry about wearing AirPods if you want to listen, but so that way it also doesn't blur out your music for the whole entire neighborhood to hear.
I don't know. I don't know. If I were biking on the road, I typically prefer not to have music on so I can be vigilant of cars coming up from behind me, because unlike walking on the road where you're supposed to walk opposed to traffic, when you're biking, you're supposed to bike with traffic. And I personally find that rather annoying, as a lot of the roads around here are a speed limit of 55, and you got all these cars coming up super fast behind you. And when you got the wind blowing as loud as possible in your ears, it makes listening for those cars kind of difficult.
Especially now that EVs are quiet, but I mean, yeah, that is a... That's why I typically don't bike on back. That's why I typically don't really bike outside of my own backyard, just because of that. But that makes. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I mean, I don't like to listen to music when I bike too for that reason. But yeah, that is why I don't. That's why I don't listen to music when I bike. But that's aside the point. But it's just. But I mean, either way, I mean, if you're gonna listen to music on your bike, that's still the best way. But my favorite part about Rivian's also brand is their cargo bike.
I heard something about that, where I guess there's another partnership yet again with Amazon.
Yes, but the also cargo bike is, so it's actually versatile. It's actually very, very versatile, where the cargo bike, it can use the bike lanes in big cities, but it can be used to deliver lots of cargo short distances. And so it's effective. So you can effectively use it as a short distance package delivery system, which is pretty cool. But also is even marketed on the website how you can use it to fit kids in. So that way if you live in an urban area and just want to go take a quick ride to the store or something, you can do that with an also cargo bike. Or else you can just get groceries. But the cargo bike is what I find the most fascinating, since it's weirdly unique.
Yeah, I'd probably go for the standard non-cargo one, since if I am ever transporting...
Oh, same.
Yeah, if I ever am transporting cargo, dude, that's what the car's for. I'm sorry. I mean...
Yeah, same. That's why it's
a cargo bike makes a lot more sense if you're actually in a city urban environment.
Yeah, when traffic lanes are so filled up, that makes sense. I mean, also at least it is doing the proper marketing, saying, "Hey, this is only for urban areas," which that makes sense. Which for urban areas, I think that the all cargo bike is a great product, but for us rural Americans, then no, it's not. I mean, the roads in my area aren't really that safe to bike, so I wouldn't be. So I don't know if I'd get any.
Oh, mine aren't any better. But at the end of the day, I still want to get back to... I would love to be able to bike my way to work. The problem is I can't do it 6 months out of the year, so because of snow and all that. Then the other problem is the hills. I do actually have interest in purchasing one.
I still think it's cool e-bike, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I really would like to give it a shot. I like Rivian as a company. I'm not particularly a fan of the CEO, not because he's bad, it's just he gets way too much hype and praise for everything he does. But I do like what Rivian stands for. I also am a fan of biking in general. I'm desperately trying to get back into it to try to lose some weight here. But yeah, I have a lot of interest in this, and I might try to purchase one next year if I can, because I'm not going to use it in the winter months because it's, well, it's UP Michigan. You can figure out why. So
Yeah, it makes valid sense because I mean, even in my area, I mean, there's a few days in January and February where I can bike, but not many.
yep. So well, that's all I have to say on the e-bike.
Shall I move on to how the Lucid Gravity can be leased for $1,300 per month?
I'm not sure whether that's cool or not because Lucid right now has a different issue with the Gravity at the moment. Well, 2 issues at the moment, I should say.
What is it?
Issue number
What
1.
are
They're having some quality control problems.
they? Oh no.
And the thing is, this isn't their first rodeo. The same thing happened with the Lucid Air. They launched the Air, and it's supposed to be a luxury car, okay? It's supposed to be a luxury vehicle. And I made a video on this, a couple videos actually, a couple years ago, describing a bit of a problem that the Lucid Air has. Number 1, its exterior build quality was not up to snuff. It should have been better for the price tag, especially considering who they were marketing that car towards. They were marketing it towards people who would typically buy a Mercedes S-Class or a BMW 7 Series. So if that...
The series is just related to size, like people, it's not necessarily
Their
that
7
it's just
Series is...
size in
Yeah,
BMWs.
that is true, but their 7 Series is also their highest end, without stepping into Rolls-Royce territory.
No, that there's an 8 series of BMW cars.
Oh, they do. Well, I didn't know if it was luxury, but
It's not on the It's not on the SUVs, but on the regular one. But on the M and then there's sedans. Yeah, there's an 8 series.
well, I digress. Though it's still mostly a 7 Series and S Class. Those two get compared together the most. But yeah, I digress. That's the target audience Lucid's trying to target, and the build quality with the Lucid Air was not up to snuff back then. Their panel gaps were pretty wonky, and the big one for me was they put almost no paint on those cars. The paint was so thin, detailers were afraid to attempt to correct it. Because if they go too far, they will literally scratch the paint off the metal.
And that's bad because then you're leaving the car exposed to rust.
Not only that, but then, I mean, like, I don't know about you, but I think people who buy an S-Class or a 7 Series, they're the people that want to make sure their car is in its best condition, right? So they pay to have it detailed, get all the scratches and the swirls out.
Well, also, most people. Well, also, I mean, think if that happened to a Chevy, how outraged people would get for that.
I mean, most people who buy a Chevy don't care. If it's a Cadillac, on the other hand, then we might be talking a different story.
But I mean, that's still. I mean, you still make a good point about how the paint job is ridiculously low quality.
Yeah, for a high-end vehicle, it should be better. And I haven't heard if Lucid has corrected this yet. To my knowledge, they haven't, but it's been a few years since I've checked last. So, I'll just say that much. But I do know that they are a bit infamous for not putting enough paint on the cars to the point where you want to detail it because of extra scratches or swirls. Well, guess what? You can't. You're literally stuck with it because there's not enough paint to detail the car properly. So, yeah, exterior build quality was a problem, but honestly, that wasn't even my biggest problem. In my opinion, because cars are so tech focused these days, with a luxury car, you need,
especially with a new company.
exactly, yes, you need to nail the software. And Lucid, they've come a long way in fixing the software in the Air. It's still, I still argue it's really not that great to use, but in the early days, the early Lucid Airs, it was literally unusable. It was so buggy. I would have sold the car instantly. In fact, many people did, because the software on it was so bad. And in a luxury vehicle that markets itself as being technology forward, when you're charging as much money as Lucid is for those cars, you need to have good software, and they did not. They've been patching bugs, they've been adding features, they've been improving it over the years, but in the early days, it was awful. It was so bad. And unfortunately, the Gravity is experiencing similar issues.
Let me guess, it's with paint quality and software.
I don't actually know about paint quality just yet, but I do know about software.
Ooh.
I watched a video from Talos of EV. He had Drew had a friend take delivery of a new Gravity, which that we'll get into that problem in just a bit. But when he took delivery of the car, if I recall, the audio system wasn't working. The heads-up display was not working. There was a few things that were just not turning on. And not even a reset was fixing it.
And this car costs how much?
Oh, we're talking six figures here, the way it's spec'd.
That's inexcusable.
Yeah. So that's issue number one that Lucid's dealing with the Gravity. Issue number two. Good luck trying to get your hands on one.
Oh no.
I'm hearing they're having
Are they
so many production issues to the point where they've had to delay a lot of deliveries because of it. There are almost... I can't say there are no vehicles in the press fleet because that's not true. State of Charge managed to get one for test, although that one actually had to be sent back because apparently there was a failure going on with the powertrain midway through his testing, which that's not good. So they have, well, they had one Gravity in their press fleet. It's now being worked on, last I heard. And just in general, if you're trying to get your hands on a Gravity, good luck. There aren't that many of them out there, and that's because Lucid is having a hard time producing these things. This is actually very similar to the Lucid Air when it came out. I don't know why, but you'd think they'd learned their lesson with trying to produce the Lucid Air at mass volumes. But from the sounds of it, they clearly haven't, because at least as of right now, the Gravity is having some pretty big software bugs that, again, at that price tag and with how this car is being marketed, that really should not be excusable. And they struggled to produce the Air in the early days, and same things going on with the Gravity. So your question about the paint, are they still having paint issues? My guess is probably yeah. They might still be doing the paint problem, where they're not putting enough paint on the car.
I mean, yeah, this is inexcusable for Lucid, and the problem is that Lucid is a new company, so at this point, Lucid is likely going to go bankrupt.
If only that's what's been happening. The truth is, if Lucid was going to go bankrupt, they should have gone bankrupt years ago.
Agreed.
It's just the problem is they're being funded by the Saudis. And I don't understand why. But the Saudis, despite that, they know Lucid has not turned a single profit. Their losses are pretty massive, actually. They have the issues that they have. For whatever reason, the Saudis continue to dump all this money into this company.
Do you mean people from Saudi Arabia?
To my knowledge, they're tied to the oil industry within Saudi Arabia. It's a real complicated relationship. I don't understand why it exists, and again, I don't understand why they keep pouring I'd argue they are wasting all of this money, just spending it on Lucid, because Lucid's not making a mass market vehicle, which means they're making it for the elites, the people who can afford something with a 6-figure price tag. And ultimately, it is not up to par with vehicles that are in that price tag, in my personal opinion. And so, the fact that the company is still alive absolutely baffles me. And I want to be impressed with what they've done. They've made some efficient vehicles. Well, that's the biggest praise I can give them. They've made some wicked efficient vehicles, especially for their size. But, and okay, the Air Sapphire is kind of cool too. But other than that, their charging performance is... Despite that, people will say, oh, but it peaks at 350 kilowatts and the Gravity peaks at 400 kilowatts. So it's the best charging vehicle on the planet. No, it is not. Taycan peaks at 320 kilowatts max, which is below both the Air and the Gravity, and it will still put more energy into its battery pack than both of those vehicles.
And also, of Porsche, you're never going to get a good high quality paint job.
Yes. So, I don't understand why people will rave over Lucid. They praise them like they're the best in the industry, and it's like, okay, if you look at their numbers on paper, technically yes. Their numbers on paper state that it really should be the best car in the industry. But if you look at things in the real world... Yeah, that's the thing. It's not in practice. If you look at the car in the real world and look at the intangibles, I'd argue no. The Lucid Air and the Gravity still have its shortcomings that will make me want to look elsewhere. And so, I have a hard time getting excited for Lucid because there are so many shortcomings that, like, they market their advantages so heavily and completely ignore their shortcomings. And I don't know, the community drives me absolutely mad because of it. It's... The sad thing is, the Lucid community is just about as bullish as the Tesla community these days. I'll say that much. Where they believe that their respective companies are only capable of doing good, and everyone else in the industry is wrong and produces bad products that you should never even consider buying in the first place. And
there's a word for that. It's called tribalism.
Yeah, it's... I can't deal with that. It's a big reason why I can't get excited for Lucid. It's a big reason why I can't deal with people in the Lucid community. It's because they're not realistic with the car. I will give it credit for where credit is due. It's pretty efficient for its size. And okay, if you care about having a lot of range in your car, I don't care that much. I just need enough to get across the UP because our charging infrastructure is a little lackluster up here. But it does have its strong points, and I will give it credit for that. But at the same time, to say that there is no car that can even come close to it, I'm sorry, that's just not true. It's got very healthy competition, and to act like it doesn't exist is just false. So
Exactly, but because it's 7:48 p.m. Central, shall I move on to our last three topics?
Yeah, there are rumors from the looks of it.
Yep, so for the first rumor is that the iPhone 17e is rumored to add the dynamic island, which, I mean, as long as it doesn't involve price hike, then I'm okay with it. I mean, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way about that.
Gimmick, but
I mean, ultimately, I still don't care about the dynamic island that much. I do still prefer the notch, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah. I mean, I know you do, but I mean, the dynamic island, I mean, even though I prefer the look of it, at the same time, it is still, functionally, it's still largely a gimmick, so...
Yeah.
It's like a 3D TV, as I've described so many time and time again, but we've gone into this in so many other episodes, but shall I move on to something that we have discussed this a little bit in past episodes. Actually, I've discussed this a lot in past episodes, but I still want to mention this, which is that the iPhone 20 is rumored to eliminate all physical buttons for haptic buttons.
I feel like this whole thing now is just a boy who cried wolf. It's that situation.
Same. Yeah, not only do I feel that, because, I mean, at this point, I mean, we've been hearing rumors about this for so many years, but also, getting aside the point, I mean, if we had all haptic backup buttons on an iPhone, then if the iPhone crashes to a point where the system that controls the buttons also crashes, then there's no way to reboot the phone. So
Yeah.
that's why you need at least one physical button. Now, granted, could you eliminate some of the buttons on the iPhone? Yes, they absolutely should.
Absolutely!
Yes.
Yeah, there are so many buttons they could get rid of.
In my opinion, there just needs to be one button, and that's the power button.
Well, I like my volume buttons. I mean, you can only do so much with the power button. The reason why I also advocate for volume buttons is, how do you take screenshots then?
Okay, that's a valid point. Okay, power and volume buttons, and maybe a mute switch, and maybe a mute switch again, but not any, because you could have the mute switch do other things if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, you don't need. I'm sorry, you do not need the camera controller action button. Those things need to go as on my iPhone 17 Pro, which Alpha can't see, but the audience can if they're watching the video version. The camera control on my iPhone 17 Pro, we want to know how often I use that.
I'm guessing you used it a grand total of 0 times.
Yes, even in my review. And the action button, yeah, you'll be able to see this on the video version after I unlock it, but... yeah.
What do you have it set to?
And you also have to hold it.
What is your action
But yeah,
button program to do?
Mute.
Oh, so same thing I have it set for.
Yeah, basically replace. I mean, I did occasionally use the ringer switch. I'll give Apple credit for that. I did actually use it.
Dude, I use it all the time. That's why I'm mad that it's gone. I used that switch all the time. And I liked it being in the form of a switch instead of another button I could mistake when I'm trying to hit the volume up button.
Exactly. If they wanted to get rid of that button, they should have just gotten rid of it entirely.
I would have been in favor of that, and instead changing it so that way you click the volume buttons at the same time, or click and hold the volume buttons at the same time. Okay, that can mute the phone or something like that.
Or else you do what they did on the iPod Nano 7th generation and have it where there's a little indentation in between the volume buttons that you can have to do other things.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, these phones have too many buttons now.
That thing. Yeah, this. Yeah, I'll show you my iPod now, 7th generation. Or one of them, because, yeah, I have two.
So. Yeah, nonetheless, I mean, the haptic buttons thing, it's a boy who cried wolf at this point.
Exactly, and speaking of. So, remember the rumors. Speaking of Boy Who Cried Wolf, do you remember the rumors of Apple rumor to add ads into more services?
Really hope that they don't add ads to Apple Maps because, I mean, haven't we heard this before too?
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
Apple's rumored to be moving forward with us. Like they were thinking about, but now they're apparently moving forward. According to the rumors, again, take this everything I say with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Nonetheless, it's
Take everything we say with a grain of salt.
yeah, that's the thing.
Huh?
That take everything we say with a grain of salt. I was agreeing to that. So, but yeah, I just hope that one's fake because I don't know about you, but I don't want ads in my navigation. I want to focus on driving.
Yeah.
If anything, you want to bring something to Apple Maps? How about satellite view and CarPlay, please?
Yes.
I would love
that'd
to
be
have
helpful.
satellite view in Apple CarPlay.
Yeah, same. There's other things that Apple could add to Apple Maps besides ads, but because the problem with ads is that most of the time, most of the ads I see are just for the big companies I already know anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, and another big problem too is that like let's say you're on an interstate and there's ads for services on Apple Maps. Well, yes, they also advertise services on billboards, but also signs. They're there anyway.
We do live in an ad apocalypse these days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically an apocalypse where only the big companies, for the most part, can easily afford to pay ads, and so effectively, that's part of how these insurance companies and these internet providers manage to keep a monopoly, or not exactly monopolies. That's how these big companies keep their market share.
Yep.
In fact, maybe there should be an antitrust case on advertising instead of on what companies advertise compared to Apple.
I mean, I've learned that I honestly don't have that much of a problem with advertising if it's for smaller businesses trying to get their name out there, but
yeah,
that's not what they're doing. It's the same brands we've all seen, we've all heard. We all know Apple's. Most of the U.S. know that Apple's a thing. I mean, the majority of Americans use iPhones. It's like, why do we need to see more Apple advertisements for, get the new iPhone? It's just...
Or why do we need to see McDonald's advertisements for...
Isn't McDonald's
Everyone
like the default?
McDonald's.
Like, when you think fast food, what is the first restaurant that enters your mind?
McDonald's.
Precisely. Why do they need to advertise? They're literally the first thing everyone around here thinks of when they hear fast food. It's instantly McDonald's.
And also, McDonald's doesn't even make money from their food. They make money from owning all the such valuable real estate. So they have literally no need to advertise.
Yeah. So I digress. I really would not have a problem with these advertisements if it was actually doing what they should be doing, just actually advertising that a company exists, and particularly it would be beneficiary if that company was smaller. because that said small company would like to try to make a name for themselves and draw in more customers. But all these big conglomerates, the problem is they have all the money, so they get the priority when it comes to advertising, and then that covers up the small companies that don't have the money to try to get their name out there. It's just
That's maybe there should be antitrust laws that state that maybe there should be laws about how companies with that are big enough can't advertise.
or at least put a cap on the amount of money they're allowed to spend
Yeah.
on advertising.
Yeah, saying that would be fair, but in other news, we are also out of time.
We're out of topics and we're out of time. That is perfect timing.
And we started out a little bit later than usual, so...
Good point, yeah.
Although we still got a pretty good length episode, so... As always, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Backer from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
And we're saying peace out for now, and we hope to see you all in the next episode.
See ya.